Hey guys, my name is Stalli111 and welcome to my new series Gamers Talk, where me, Stalli111, a gamer, talks to another gamer about any gaming orientated discussion. And today I'm here with Ryu Makkuro. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, makkuro here. Nice to see you.
Just before we get into the discussion of today's episode, what sort of games do you play and what sort of stuff do you do on YouTube?
Well, I'm mostly playing Need for Speed World, but I'm also playing Battlefield 3, even though I didn't have many videos, actually only one, but I'm also getting into Battlefield 4 beta and the Battlefield 4 when it's be launched on PC, and I also did some FIFA, and that's about it, really.
And that Battlefield point there that you enjoy that is very important because today's discussion is what game to invest in, Call of Duty Ghosts or Battlefield 4, the main FPS of current gen and probably going to be next gen. I'm going to be taking the side of Call of Duty Ghosts, and my friend here is going to be trying to persuade you and also me to go for Battlefield 4.
I hope I'll succeed.
So I'll let you start off there.
Well, first off, I mean, this is quite an obvious bad graphics-wise. Of course, this is, not that much important because gameplay is the most important, but graphics-wise and the destructibility that Battlefield games give with them. I mean, you can destroy, well, not entire maps, but being able to just knock out a wall and, and take out some guys with it, being able to just manipulate the environment around you is something that not many FPS shooters have to that extent. Of course, you can shoot some gas bottles that blow up or canisters and so on, but it's not to that extent as it is in Battlefield 3 that you can technically take the entire skyscraper down, like in the Battlefield 4 beta and so on. It's quite a game-changing mechanics, which not many games have, and that is the main goal for the Battlefield series.
I do agree with you there. That is a very beneficial point for Battlefield. So you basically trying to say the dynamic destruction of the map is better. Just makes Battlefield a better series.
Yeah.
Well, just that point you said about graphics, I was just about to say, Call of Duty Ghosts, what I've seen, likes of some bigger YouTubers getting early access, and also trailers, it's actually looking to compete with the next generation, using the next generation, trying to compete with Battlefield 4's graphics. I mean, Battlefield 4, from what I've seen, just looks very similar to Battlefield 3. Is there any input on that? Because I've heard a lot of people just saying it's just a slightly more
of course it looks similar because, well, it's the similar game. It's like saying that
it's the
Call
same
of
engine,
Duty
isn't it?
Well, it's not the same engine. The Battlefield 3 ran on Frostbite 2 and Battlefield 4 runs on Frostbite 3. Of course, some people, haters and so on, say that it's Frostbite 2.5. Also, you have to keep in mind Battlefield 3 already was a very good looking game. There's not much improvement that can be done with just small improvement in the hardware that's been done, so you can't expect to get a difference from Battlefield 1 in 1942 to Battlefield 3 or Bad Company 2 to Battlefield 3. I mean, that was a huge jump in graphics at that time, but right now we're just getting closer to that photorealism, and you can't expect a huge jump.
I do. I'm already just giving in. I'm agreeing with you with the graphics point of view, but I personally am technically Battlefield fan as I bought a few of their games, but I wouldn't say I'm a dedicated. I don't buy every game. I don't play it a lot. I played Battlefield 3 most probably. I liked the campaigns of them, but I would actually say the reason I don't play Battlefield 3, is because I don't actually have a team or friends that play it that often. Whereas Call of Duty, you can easily play on your lonesome. You can play it just on your own and have as much fun as you would with Battlefield 3 with a team.
Yes, yeah, I know, and that I know is the only, in my opinion, the only advantage Call of Duty actually has, because in Battlefield 3, if you want to play alone, you technically locked down to team deathmatch. When it comes to Call of Duty, you have more modes, game modes that you can play alone, but in Battlefield 3 Conquest, you're way better off with friends. Rush, the same.
I would say if you had the money, I would go for both. But if you only had, I personally would only go for Call of Duty Ghosts because of what I've seen, the extent of the modes. I mean, although they may seem very similar, but what I've seen from Ghosts with the new Squads trailer and also leaks from this new Extinction mode, is there anything you think Battlefield could compete with that?
Yes, definitely. The Battlefield 4 right now comes out with the new Obliteration mode, which is pretty much you have one bomb at the center of the map, and it's very intense because everyone wants to get their hands on that bomb, and they don't want that bomb to go to the points that you want to defend, because each team has 3 points that have to defend, and they need to take out enemies 3 points. So it's very intense and it's very funny, even of course, because it's a bit chaotic, so it's fun. But there's also the esport mode where you have, which is pretty much Counter-Strike mode. I mean, you've got one team that defends, the second team that has to plant a bomb, and you've got only 1 life per unit. So I think Battlefield 4 will have a lot of game modes that can be played alone. You know, Battlefield 4 gives more modes that you can play just alone, even though it still puts a great emphasis on playing as a team. It still does that.
Well, that's good. I'm actually turning my thoughts a bit on Call of Duty because I do want to get Call of Duty. It looks very good, but my friend actually suggested, he's a big Battlefield fan, and he actually suggested I join one of his, some of his other friends that I haven't actually met yet. Join the squad. They are like a Battlefield 3 squad. They've done some teamwork and just try and get me to like it better. So would you think that if I played with some, like a squad of friends, over like a Skype call maybe, or just over like conversation with a chat, just have communication with a team, do you think that would probably persuade most Call of Duty players to Battlefield?
Of course, definitely. Battlefield, whenever I play with a few friends, I have voice communication and so on with them, the game becomes immensely better. You're no longer restricted, let's say, to team deathmatch. You can play every single map, and even if you suck at those modes, it's still fun because you're all in a one jeep, and then there's the attack heli chasing you, and you're just doing everything you can to drive. The others are shooting at it, trying to take it down. It's just so much more amazing, even when you are getting blown to smithereens and just being, oh, I've been killed by a chopper just by trying to get to a 1 point. Because when you're running alone, it's just boring. But when you're in a team, you all try to fight it, and it's the whole enthusiasm of the entire crew that everyone starts shouting, getting a bit panic, and the adrenaline comes rushing through. It all gets a lot better when there are people. The Battlefield is a game that if you're not playing in a team, it's not that enjoyable. But when you're in a team of people, it gets just so much more enjoyable that in my opinion, it blasts Call of Duty out of the world, out of the earth, completely blown. It's just that much more fun because you have so many things that can happen.
So there was some things that you think that Call of Duty really contrasts with Battlefield, like just the gameplay in general.
Yeah, there's definite contrast because in Battlefield you have that. It's not a simulator, but it's not also that arcade style of Call of Duty or Unreal Tournament, and it's somehow in between. And I think they found that sweet spot that the gameplay is not simulated to the point that it's just a camper's war, but it's also not to that arcade that is just a pure war of reflex. it's more of a, it's just in between, so that you actually need, you need some skill to not just click as fast as possible and reflex all the thing, but you actually need to control the actual guns. The guns have actual recoil, and to be able to control the recoil, to judge the distance, to, so that people are running and you need to aim before ahead of them,
Yeah,
so that the bullets, so bullets have their own physics and so on, and all that somehow takes you more into the game, and the game is more skill based, in my opinion. Of course, Battlefield has more actual skill and less natural reflex into it.
I do agree with you there, but I believe I think this is why Call of Duty is slightly more popular, is because not everyone can cope with the actual realism. I think it's more because of EA that I've disliked.
EA has a lot of backlash.
It's not just because of the amount of all the DLC problems and everyone's going on about that over the internet, but we're talking about they've actually just EA games. I've got an Xbox, and my Xbox Live gets signed out every time I try to go on an EA game. It's more recent. It's been the last 5 months. Well, it's not that recent, but the recent games. I mean, like FIFA, can't play online. Battlefield 3, Medal of Honor. I used to play that loads, but I can't do that anymore because of EA with that. But I've never had that with any Call of Duty game. I know they're copying Battlefield. Lots of people have done this, but although it's not very much, they're still introducing it into the Call of Duty franchise, that they're making destructible buildings specific points of the map that can.
Yeah, Battlefield took it even further. They now have a dynamic. No, they have a dynamic weather.
Yeah,
so you start on a nice sunny day, and then storm comes and fucks you up.
I think it might not be properly storm and random and stuff, but I think there is something coming to maybe a map pack. I've just heard rumours here, there, and everywhere about Call of Duty Ghosts, but there might be something very similar to that, but not quite as in depth as Battlefield. Like certain maps have certain styles. Like they might start off a normal, but then say a jungle map. I'm just taking that for example. They might not have any jungle maps, but I've seen a clip of them in a jungle. So in the campaign. So let's take a jungle map. It is nice and sunny, and it slowly gets darker. More clouds come in and rain. But maybe on a urban map, maybe it's just it's like later at night, but then you can still see quite bright, but then it gets darker and darker, like it's going at night time, if you will. But I don't think it's quite as extensive as Battlefield, which I'm just kind of coming to this end of this episode, because we've been chatting for quite a few minutes now. I just want to say in conclusion, I think you've persuaded me to change my mind. I'm thinking, I was hoping to, if I could afford it, get Battlefield 4 as well as Call of Duty Ghosts, but I'm not sure. I'm still not 100% sure, but I'm actually swerving towards Battlefield 4 as my first choice for FPS. So you've done a good job there.
On the point of map packs for Call of Duty, there's always the funny thing that most people say that about EA and their DLC politics, but when you look at how many map packs and how expensive they are for Call of Duty, and then you have a Battlefield free. You buy Battlefield free, and then you bought Premium, and you had all the DLCs, all the maps, everything in that one thing.
I mean, every game is a bit materialistic. Game comes.
Of course, that's natural.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Battlefield 3 Premium was actually quite a good investment if you wanted to buy. If you would get all the DLCs anyway, it's actually EA getting less out of it than more, because you bought Premium, you paid less than for all the DLCs, and you actually get more.
Just a point there, just kind of contradicting myself, saying that every game developer is a bit materialistic. I would actually say from a news report I read, Valve are definitely not materialistic with the plan.
Valve and Blizzard, however it may seem, but those two companies, Valve and Blizzard, are the least materialistic out of them all. That I agree.
I would actually think Blizzard are with World of Warcraft, because that is quite expensive, is it not?
Yes, World of Warcraft, yes, that's the one thing everyone always brings, but let's be honest, that's one World of Warcraft, but you have Diablo, you pay
True.
once
True.
and you got free. I agree on that.
Oh. On that note of going on to Blizzard, I think we should stop talking because stop this episode because we're going off topic here. So
Exactly.
you guys comment down in the comment section below what your opinions are on what we've talked about, and if you agree with any of my points and any of Ryu Makuro's points. Just comment what game you're going to be getting, Call of Duty Ghost or the Battlefield 4. Nobody's actually had the chance to play a beta of a sort in Call of Duty Ghost.
Yeah, right now you can play the open beta
Yeah.
up to 15th of October.
Except big YouTubers or big gamers that have been at E3 and whatnot have been able to at Gamescom and whatnot. But no, it's nothing open for Call of Duty, so I think they've always had that. But I mean, I played Battlefield 3 beta, but I've not bothered with Battlefield 4. So I'm just going to end that here. Thanks for watching this episode. Stay tuned for any more gaming-oriented commentaries at my channel, and head over to my friend here. The link should be in the description. He does driving and some Battlefield stuff. So make sure to drop a like, a comment, as I said, and make sure to subscribe. And thanks for watching. Peace.